Hey, Jagged here. Before we get into the video, if you've liked my content, smash that sub button. And I also stream live on Twitch most nights, so check me out at twitch.tv/jacket. My links will be in the description. Let's get into the video. Alright, so I'm back with another tips and trick video for overall Diablo 4. We can say that it stops at Season 1. They're making some changes this week. Hopefully they get changed in a positive manner. We get some buffs, right? So some things I want to talk about here. I want to talk about the overall sentiment that I'm weaker as a player, that I don't do any damage, I die instantly, I don't have any armor, don't have any damage, don't know what my build does, changed all my stuff, and now what am I left with? So truthfully, yes, everything was made a lot weaker. Balance changes will help fix this, but at the end of the day, we have to make do with what we have in the video game. There are rules that we have to follow in terms of how we actually go about achieving some of these things. So, how do you make a character that has an insane amount of tankiness? How do you make a character that does a bunch of damage? Well, those are what I want to talk about today. And my number one thing leveling up, even getting to World Tier 3 and World Tier 4, the main source of damage are going to come from two places. This may seem obvious. You might be thinking, Jack, I know how this game works. I know how characters work. Well, I just want to make it abundantly clear to anyone who might not know, anyone who might not want to watch this type of content. Maybe they see this video, it's a bit short, and they click on it, and hopefully those are the people I'm trying to reach out to. So the very, very obvious one is you're going to want to look for a legendary power. You're going to want to look at a skill that you're using in your skill tree, and you want to go, okay, I'm using Blight. This says it increases Blight's damage by a percentage amount, and then it has a multiplier next to it. So, like our Plunging Darkness ones here. So we have Bone Prism spawns a pool of Blight that deals 75%, and then there is no multiplier or anything next to it. We don't know what it does, right? But this is going to increase the damage of Blight by a certain amount, the Blight that's spawned in the pool from the Bone Prison. That's fantastic. Well, you know, we don't really use Blight for damage in this build, but we do use our minions. This has skeletons gain increased damage, 80% multiplicative. That little X is what we are looking for. So, you want to find a power that you like to use, and then you want to find a core skill that you like to use, or some skill that does damage that you like to use, and then you want to find a legendary power that amplifies that damage. The next thing is you can find a utility thing that kind of makes, you know, a little bit more quality life for it. And then overall, the last thing that you can do to help yourself out, and this is the huge one, is get yourself a weapon. Find yourself a weapon that has the highest item power. The top, where it says Ancestral Legendary Two-Handed Scythe, 800 item power. Find yourself something that has an insane item power on it, right? After you find yourself with a weapon that has an insane item power on it, you want to take it to the blacksmith, and regardless of what stage of the game you're on, if it's a magic item, if it's a rare item, if it's a legendary item, it does not matter. Come here, smash 2 or 3 upgrades into it. This gives it 15 extra item levels, so you're doing much more damage. The previous cap on this one was 3,000, and now it's 3,248. That's 250 extra on an individual hit every single time you're doing anything. Every time the math is being formulated. Every time you're doing damage, this number is the most important number. You can argue that's, yes, Jacket, I got things with vulnerable damage. I got things with my main set on it. It's a great weapon. I don't know if plus 100 green number means it's good or not. Well, sometimes it's really hard to calculate that. But let me tell you a secret. If you equip this other weapon, this item is not destroyed. Hold on to it for a minute. Walk out to the town, throw a few more fireballs as your sorcerer, go shred some things as your druid, go cast some more raised skeletons as your minion master. Figure out if it feels better after you've equipped this item. And then if it doesn't, swap it back. It's alright to test things, take a few moments to do it. That is part of the beauty of these type of games. Give yourself that freedom to make sure you understand a feeling on what something is happening in front of you. Right? It is not a bad thing to do. Take that extra step. We have now just made this item from no upgrade to a +5, and I gave myself almost 400 damage on the big hits and 250 on the small hits. So, sure, you know, I can't find my powers. Oh man, that's rough. How's your weapon looking? Are you using a level 100 item power weapon when you're level 30 and 370 item power weapons are dropping, but you like the stats on the one you're wearing now? Do yourself a favor and upgrade that weapon. You will see a drastic increase of your power. And sometimes you're so wrapped up in a build. This is like a bonus tip. This is like Jacket's bonus tip corner here. If you're so wrapped up in a build, you like, I need a main hand, I need an offhand, I need all these powers, I need that, I need that. Have you tried slapping on a two-handed weapon and just going to see if that's enough damage to kill something? You know, maybe sometimes the build you're following is an endgame build where you already have everything. Maybe the build you're following doesn't tell you exactly how to get from point A to point B, and you need to improvise some. How are you improvising? You know, I don't have those powers. I have a blue weapon and a yellow offhand, and I can't find anything I want. I don't even have the resources to put the power on if I have it. Well, maybe go to the shop and spend a couple 100,000 gold on a weapon that's like 40 or 50 or 100 item levels higher than your current one, and see how that impacts your damage. Guarantee you, you're going to feel a lot more power. I really do. So that is my offensive tips for this video. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, well, how are you so tanky? And this one is a little bit more in depth. There are a couple layers to defenses in this game, and some of them start with the defensive tab here. And things like resistances are not currently working as intended, or they are working as intended, but the mathematic formula for them makes it so they're basically useless. I'm neither here nor there, an expert on that. All I know is it's true. I've tested putting, you know, resistance gems in your gear. Sure, it helps a little bit, but it does not help overall. So, if something says it's resistance on it, it's out the window for you until they fix it or change the formula. So, you know, I'm dying to a teleporter that's lightning damage. Let me get more lightning resistance. Nope, we don't care. Get it out of here. That's not what we want to increase. The next thing, how is your life looking? Right? That's not a philosophical question. Your maximum life is low, you're more likely to get one shot in this game. Keep the maximum life higher. You know, look for some things that have maximum life on it. If it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. But you know, throw some gems in, some rubies in your chest, helmet, and legs, and get yourself some of that defense. You can also throw topazes in, so if you're going to be CC'd and you don't have a way to break it, you get frozen and you're slowed permanently. Slow counts as a form of CC. You can get like 40+% damage reduction from the best gems in the game if you have all topazes in. And that's another great way to start. But you know, take your pick, get some more life, get some more damage reduction while controlled and paired, and those are two fantastic ways to keep some damage reduction going. Now, staying on the topic of gear, there are two other major things. What is your item level of your armor? Not as impactful as the weapon, but it can be, right? An extra 100 armor is an extra 100 armor. If you think about it in terms of Paragon points, one Paragon point, which is an entire quarter of a bar of XP, is 50 armor. Well, you can replace your armor, or your helmet, your actual armor, your helmet that has 700 armor on it, and then you get 750 armor. You've gained a Paragon point worth of power. Just remember that. On top of that, a lot of these defensive slots can roll with total armor. So you'll see here, 5.1% total armor, 5.7% total armor, 6.9% total armor, 3.6% total armor. I do not play around when it comes to armor. I acknowledge a game mechanic. I don't want my character to be dying, especially not on hardcore, because I'm playing on hardcore right now. And I don't want them to be dying to literally anything. Annoying when I die when I play on softcore. My character gets deleted when I play on hardcore. Take the defense seriously. It may not be what we like as gamers, enjoyers of the game, but I will tell you what. You don't do it, your character dies. And that's the annoying part about it. So take armor percent totals. Everything else can be literally nothing. It could be resistance, resistance, total armor, and resistance on this chest piece. And guess what? I'm taking that chest piece because my other chest piece doesn't have total armor percent on it. That's just a worse chest piece. And then you might ask yourself, well, how do I know if this, if one is better than the other, if the armor math, whatever? Okay, well, you just, take your armor piece off, swap it with that piece, and did the armor number go up? If not, oh well, then you keep the one you're currently wearing and hope another one drops later down the road. Get armor is the moral of the story here. Please, do yourself a favor, get yourself armor. Like I said, it could be the literal worst chest piece on the world. But if you go from having 5.7% total armor up from 0, it's an upgrade, and it's not even close. The other piece is so much worse because it does not have armor percentage on it. The offensive pieces can be very good. So like gloves, necklace is this is a defensive offensive piece. You want some of both. And then the rings are fairly offensive. You can get maximum life on rings, so that's if you're dying a lot, that could be something you want to look out for. But there is one other component that is heavily invested from the gear, and that's damage reduction overall. So you'll get things like damage reduction from distant, fortified. We have minion damage reduction. There's so many stats for damage reduction. They all get added together and form your full overall damage reduction. If you can get total armor plus damage reduction, that's a thumbs up. If not, total armor is your best bet. So, moving on to the next section here of damage reduction is how many times in your build, from your talent points, from your special stat, from your paragon, are you putting into defense? Well, I'm putting in 15% of my damage is getting absorbed by my golem. And I'm spam healing my golem. Okay, so take that equivalent to your class. Are you taking the defensive talent that you can take? Are you, sacrificing a defense piece for an offense piece? Is that offense piece minuscule? Are you going from doing 10,000 damage to 10,480 damage? Well, maybe you could just stick with 10,000 and live a little bit more. So maybe you should take those kind of stats as well. So things like Death's Embrace over just flat damage reduction. Even though I'm farther away, I want to take this skill in case something gets close to me and does damage to me. I want to be taking things that allow me to live longer. I want Bone Storm that gives me 50% more damage reduction while Bone Storm is active. So I hit this button when there's a big, dangerous enemy near me. I want to be taking things like Necrotic Carapace where, I don't really believe in the Fortify gang, but if they want to tell me that I'll get 10% damage reduction sometimes, I'm here for it. Give me the 10% damage reduction when it's up. I'll pretend like it doesn't exist, and if it happens, it happens. If not, it is what it is. You take damage reduction where you can get it in all your builds. And the last thing is, how's your Paragon looking? Are you level 80 right now? Do you have any armor nodes in your Paragon board? Have you selected any of these? If the answer is no, you should probably take some points out of some of the offensive stats and drop a few into the armor nodes. But those are my absolute best tips and tricks to keep yourself alive, do the most damage possible, and how one build can come together to accomplish both, and how that makes pretty much all ARPGs a better game because you're using a lot of brain power to make this character that comes together to just battle the hordes that you might face. So that's going to do it for me in this video. I hope it was helpful for anyone that might have watched. If you've learned nothing, just let me know in the comments. I'll come up with some more things to read everyone out, really just give out to everyone else. So that's it for me. Peace.